where we go up through 7 layers. We have a goal, a dream, a desire. It goes up through the 7 layers of consciousness, goes out into the universal mind, goes out, finds what it's looking for, and comes back down through the 7 layers of the mind. When it hits the 6th layer of consciousness, right before manifestation, it hits your emotions. Now, back in the day, I used to resist crying or raging or whatever the emotion was that I was feeling. And the School of Metaphysics told me, no, you need to release that energy. If it's crying, raging, cleaning your house, whatever it is, get it out, because that means you're stopping the process of manifestation. How many of us do that? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we're streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. The purpose of the show is to help you realize that you are not alone and that you are in control of your life. It doesn't matter where you came from or what the circumstances are. We've all experienced pain, suffering, hurt, abandonment, loneliness, and hopelessness. This show is to help you turn those dark moments around and create a whole new you. Despite your success, have you felt lonely, angry, frustrated, or even suicidal? Do you long to be supported, recognized, and respected for who you are, not just the awards and accolades on your walls? You don't want to be known, identified, or remembered in a way that feels fraudulent because you achieve things out of obligation and not passion. Do you find yourself sitting quietly at lunch listening to what lights you up, only to feel shame, fear, frustration, and resentment? Your inner turmoil and limiting beliefs surface, making you feel not good enough and afraid of doing something different. You've read the books, attended the seminars, and practiced new concepts and principles, yet you still find yourself in the same rut. The lies you tell yourself perpetuate a cycle of disappointment. You say you'll change, but your self-limiting beliefs keep running the show, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. As a certified coach, I empower you to become your authentic self. My Soul Journey program aligns with you and your true self and guides you to find your soul vision, helping you discover your purpose in life. I provide tools to step you into your true magnificence and remember who you are. If you are interested in learning more, contact me at bravetv@kathleenmflanagan.com. Each week, I start the show with the tuning forks, bringing in love, happiness, and balance. This sets the tone for the show and brings out the best in me. Let's begin. Just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, it became a butterfly. And today we're going to talk about breaking through the cocoon, your path to personal transformation. And this is about embracing your authentic self. Personal transformation is the process of shedding away the old layers and embracing the new authentic you. And a lot of times we don't even know what we don't know. Now, you have to become very conscious. And I talk about this a lot because there is so much truth in what I'm telling you. Is until you actually can start going through the layers of the onions, you don't know. And the only way you know when something's changing is if you're present now, when you're being mindful, when you are conscious in the present. You're not worried about the past. You're not thinking about the future. You're here now. And that makes all the difference in the world of being present, because even if something comes up, and it can be a subtle, so subtle, but if you're present, you notice it because your body tells you. You'll feel it, you'll get a sense something's off, you're going to get that. And part of this is learning to trust your own intuition. And I know that we're all afraid of it because we don't want to take responsibility. What if we're wrong? What if this? What if that? But the only way that you're ever going to get what you want and where you're feeling you want to be is when you start trusting yourself. Because I'm a very intuitive person, and I always knew things, but I never wanted anybody to know I knew anything. I mean, that was just where I was at. I was so insecure and thought everybody knew more than I did. And because of that, I kept perpetuating this place of insecurity. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. It was a game. When I look back at it now, I didn't know any better then, so I don't judge myself for what I did. But when I look back at it now, and if I would have had a little bit of an inkling, I would have changed that, but I didn't know. And it was almost like this little game I played, because when I was a child, I didn't want anybody to expect anything out of me. I really didn't. I'm very intelligent, and I got into Phi Beta Kappa, I think it was, in college. And the only reason I did that was to prove to everybody that I wasn't stupid, because I didn't apply myself in anything as a kid. Why should I? I didn't see any point. I didn't even think I would be alive as long as I have been either. I figured I'd be dead 16, 30 years old. And I was definitely on that path where I would have been dead. However, as I've told you guys in the past, is that Edgar Cayce meditation at 16 that went with my mother on, and had that meditation about receiving the rod and the staff, and God telling me I'm going to change the world. And I thought they were absolutely nuts. It was like, you got the wrong person. I mean, I'm in self-destruct mode. I'm not going to be changing the world. I have nothing to say. I'm a nobody. To me, there was no value. And not knowing what had happened in my life at that point made it perfectly clear. But the other thing that happened with that was, well, maybe there's something more going on here than meets the eye. And that's why I started studying. So in my 20s, I got into Eastern philosophy because I didn't know Eastern philosophy. And I remember talking to my mom a lot, and I didn't know how to explain what I was reading, because Eastern is a feeling. It was like it just drove down a feeling that I was like, yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. I kind of get that. And then when I went back into Western philosophy, it's about the doing, and it's about being here. And I thought there's got to be a way to incorporate both the being and the doing, but I wasn't sure what that was. So I mean, I just kept learning. I also went into the School of Metaphysics, and I met my friend who was an astrology teacher. She's an astrologer, and she was my teacher. And it was through astrology that I started to understand a little bit more about who I was, because she was so stunned at how intuitive I was. And I hated it. Okay. I just hated it because nobody else did what I did, and I didn't understand anything. I had no control over it either. It just was. And I remember we used to have to do dream interpretations, and nobody ever wanted my dreams because they were so wild. And she said, when I start understanding and getting a hold of my creative ability, my dreams will shift. And she was absolutely right about that. When I started to understand a little bit more about who I am, and astrology helped me to understand what these different planets were, what they were represented in the house. Now, I didn't have any in depth, but it was enough for me to go, oh, I get it, I think. But it just continued to push me further. Because before that I did meditation, and, I told you that I was part of the Brotherhood of the White Light. And I am in the Council of Nine. Not that anybody knows about most of that or anybody understands that, but I also, as the years progress and the more I learned about myself, then the paradigms come in and start showing up about self-limiting beliefs. Not that we knew what those necessarily were yet, because they were in the unconscious part of the mind, and we were starting to develop more of understanding the levels of the mind. Now, what I did understand and learn in the School of Metaphysics is I understood a little bit more on a metaphysical, esoteric place of how the mind actually operates, where we go up through 7 layers. We have a goal, a dream, a desire. It goes up through the 7 layers of consciousness, goes out into the universal mind, goes out, finds what it's looking for, and comes back down through the 7 layers of the mind. When it hits the 6th layer of consciousness, right before manifestation, it hits your emotions. Now, back in the day, I used to resist crying or raging or whatever the emotion was that I was feeling. And the School of Metaphysics told me, no, you need to release that energy. If it's crying, raging, cleaning your house, whatever it is, get it out, because that means you're stopping the process of manifestation. How many of us do that? I don't want to feel this sick. I'm going to stuff this, even though this is your dream getting ready to manifest. That was probably one of the biggest game changers, where I was learning how to start accepting emotions, because I was understanding more of how the brain worked in this creation process. Now, when I started studying under Bob Proctor and Mary Morrissey, and they're talking about self-limiting beliefs, and it's like, well, how do you know what you don't know? Because I didn't know. I didn't know how to find that. I could see every now and then if something was coming up. And one of the biggest game changers for me, again, I'm living with my business partner at the time, and I'm trying to get Awakening Spirit off the ground. And there was this realization of just this frustration of, why can't I make any money? And this thought comes up out of nowhere. This belonged to my mother, by the way. Was she always said, you work to pay your bills. I didn't have any bills, so I didn't have any money. That was the limiting belief. Because I wasn't working, I didn't have any bills. So why did I need to work? Because I didn't need to work, because I didn't have any bills. And it was this really weird thing when I realized, like, okay, that really sucks. And I had to change my mind and go, but I like working. I like money. I want money. I want to buy things. Not that I needed anything, because I didn't need anything. It was just that it was a way to add to my creative resources, to create what we need to, because we're creating machines. We're goal achieving machines. So that became a really big quest of that was such a huge limiting belief that I had to change it. Now, when I started realizing that, now that doesn't mean I had any tools in my tool belt yet on how to go to that next level and really look at how to really, like, start discrediting limiting beliefs and finding the lies within the limiting beliefs and all that. That came, what, this year? More so, I mean, I understood things, but I have more of a strategic system now. When you're looking for that, a lot of times what we don't do, and this is important to do, is, if we want to know what a limiting belief is, and if you're in an uncomfortable situation or something's coming up, something's triggering you, that's when it's the opportunity to look at a limiting belief. Why are you angry? Why are you frustrated? Why do you feel inadequate or unworthy or undeserving? Or why are you saying nobody listens to me, when you know damn well people listen to you, but you're hearing yourself say nobody ever listens to me? Those are the opportunities. That's being present. That's paying attention to this little quiet, still voice in your head telling you, here's another limiting belief. This is an opportunity to change it. Does it suck sometimes? Yeah, it really does. But you know what? There's freedom on the other side. And that's the thing that I love the most about when we're focusing in and looking at that these are beautiful opportunities, and the only person judging this is you. No one's judging you. I mean, your partner might be a little cranky, if you're taking some of it out on him or her, because we do that, not always intentional. I think we just do that. And like Sal and I right now, we're working on getting my basement put back together, and we have made phenomenal progress. After a year and a half, we're finally getting there, and I finally said it's just time. And what's really interesting about this is we both realize several things. We're both cranky. We're also changing, because it's like he feels less angry because that's moving. I feel like the cobwebs are out of my brain right now, that I can move into another direction, and it's motivating me more. And I keep looking at that this was such a blessing on so many levels. As much as it sucked to be in it, it was a blessing, because what we discovered is our staircase was not anchored, and we take things up and down in the basement all the time, and we are so lucky that nothing collapsed, because those stairs were literally falling down. And if that flood wasn't there, we wouldn't have seen it, because it was under poly, because of the radon system. And because of the flood, we had to take all the poly up, take everything up, put in a sump pump, dig a trench. So because I'm in a flood zone area, so we're going to have water. And I concreted around the house. I did all the things that I needed to do. And even though there are so many other messages that came with it, this was probably the biggest one that I'm seeing now, which was a godsend. And the fact that life is moving and shifting again, because now it's like I have enough alignment to know what's going on and where I need to go next. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Your mindset shapes your reality. With Kathleen Flanagan's Mindset Blueprints, you'll learn powerful techniques to shift your thoughts, break limiting beliefs, and design a life of abundance and success. It's time to reprogram your mind for the life you truly desire. Visit KathleenMFlanagan.com and start building your new blueprint today. Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we're streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. Now, what I talked about with my basement, basically, those are characteristics of a personal transformation. I mean, I'm experiencing growth, and I was also releasing old habits. I started to see that in the first water loss that I had, I was in an overwhelmed place. And in this one, it was like, I don't know what you want me to do. I don't care. I'll deal with it as I go. And that's exactly how I handled it, because my happiness was more important than anything else that was going on at that time. I think it helped to develop more of my spiritual awakening, and I stepped more into my authentic self, because one of my goals is that my happiness is number one, and whatever that is, I'm not going to lose that, because happiness is not outside of me, it's an inside job. And the sooner we all realize that happiness comes from within, it makes a big difference in your life, because the world treats you differently. You see the world differently. Things respond differently. And then, there's this mental, emotional, and physical alignment. Now I'm a certified guide in this alignment process, and I was getting more and more in alignment. When I took this certification, I went even further into alignment, and I keep watching myself getting more and more in alignment. I mean, this is probably going to happen till the day I die. I mean, I've been working on getting in alignment my whole life, but there's more of an opportunity where I'm seeing so much more on this. When you're in alignment and you're bringing all of you to the table, doesn't matter where you are in your world, in your life, in business, if all of you is showing up, then you are in your authentic self. Because how many times have we changed who we are, and we're a different person at work, or we're a different person when we're around our relatives, and we're different when we're with our friends? I mean, that's not being authentic. You're just putting on a mask. And so when you can allow that part of you to come out where it is, to let the world see you. Because, like, I mean, Sal and I sometimes we're just really cranky, with this basement thing because, our bodies hurt, we're tired. We talk about it, we might growl at each other, but we understand where we're at and we don't take it personally. And that's the beauty of when you start owning who you are. You don't take as much stuff personally because you realize it's not always about me. I mean, they're having their own issues. So, you can be a little bit more compassionate and understanding. Some of the signs when you're on the path of transformation is that you're feeling restless or disconnected from your current life. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I felt that. Like, where am I going? What am I doing? Why am I here? And you're going down a path, and then something comes up, and you kind of go, am I supposed to be here or should I be over there? And you're just not sure where to go. And you start looking and feeling, and sometimes you even talk to people about, tell me what you're seeing, what you're feeling, because we're all going outside of ourselves, yes, when we should be going inside. But sometimes people see us differently than we see ourselves. They see a situation differently than we do. And that helps to broaden your perspective to get you back in alignment. It also shows that you have this increased desire for authenticity and deeper meaning. So yeah, connections are really important for me. The more that I've stepped into myself, the more that I owned what happened in my life, taken full responsibility that I created this life. And it is an amazing life, even though there's moments that it's like, God, I'm just not where I want to be yet. But I'm still taking the baby steps. I'm still doing what I can do. My attitude is bringing quality of people to help me in ways that is mind-blowing to me right now. I hired a VA a couple of weeks ago, and we did this Briggs-Meyer assessment, and I told her what I was, and she said, "Oh my God, I'm the same one." And I'm like, "What?" And I didn't even know that, but we connected. So that's when you get into alignment, is you start attracting the right people to you. That makes working with them easier because, there's a connection. You're not struggling, you're not fighting. The resistance is gone because you trust in your ability. And if you're trusting in your ability and what you can bring in, then that's what's going to happen. Because when I had VAs in the past, it was like they were so talented in some areas and we just didn't get along very well. There was a lot of weird crap going on with the VA a lot of times. And I realized that, and I remember the one always called me, she said, "Well, you're a fraud." And I kept saying, "I'm not a fraud. And why do you say that?" And then one day it hit me of like, oh my God, I'm mirroring what she is, because she's actually the fraud. She's not doing what she said she was going to do. She hasn't delivered on what she said she could deliver on. And when I started realizing that, that's when it made it easier to fire people if we weren't working. Had another one who would just go rogue on me, just went rogue. We had weekly meetings, never showed up for most of them. And when I got into more of alignment where I brought my core values into how I wanted to operate and use my core values to make business decision, game changer. It was a game changer. It was so easy to fire him and not feel bad about, that crap we do to ourselves. And I didn't feel bad because he wasn't living up to his contract. He didn't do one thing in his contract. Then he would go rogue. And it was a total invalidation of me, and we were not in alignment. So it made it real easy to walk away from him. And it was an opportunity for me to really dial in. Well, what is it that I'm looking for? Who do I want to work with? How do I want to be? What kind of a boss do I want to be? And those were opportunities for me to really grow more, become more authentic, and create deeper meanings, because I really want the people that work with me to flourish. I want them to feel this is part, and they're growing and they're evolving and they're doing what they love. And if they're doing what they love and I'm doing what I love, then, business takes off in a totally different place. Rather than working the business, it becomes more enjoyable. And of course, when life gives us lemons and it says make lemonade, that's a beautiful time for growth. That's all I can say. It may not be fun, it may not be easy, but when you have a different mindset about it and you start looking at, well, what am I here to learn? What do I need to do? How do I need to show up differently? That makes all the difference, because now you're in a powerful state. You're responding to life instead of reacting to life. And sometimes these events that happen in our life is to show us, well, where are you on the path of life? Where are you in your own personal growth? So when you can do that, then it's a game changer. And I have watched myself grow and evolve. And I've had people, when I went to a seminar in September, people said, "Oh my God, you're so different." I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" Because right now I don't see it. Now I changed the color of my hair because I know that there's changing on the inside happening. I mean, this is my natural hair color. For some reason, I just bleached out all summer long, being outside in the sun. So, but that's the whole point, is that I want to be in alignment with what I feel on the inside, that I match what's on the outside. Now, I know this is only the beginning of an exterior transformation, but there's more going on because there's still more growing on inside of me. And yes, it's going to be very uncomfortable. I can't even tell you how many times I am uncomfortable, because when we start letting go of familiar limiting beliefs and habits that we do, it becomes very uncomfortable. And I'm in this class mastermind right now where I have been in this massive training about understanding how to do like YouTube right now, and how to create better videos, and how YouTube reads metrics, and all the things that nobody ever tells you. I am learning, because I could look at a metric and go, I don't know what I'm looking at. I do now. And on Monday, when we were in the class, the mastermind, people are in overwhelm, and the gentleman teaching, he said, you're supposed to be uncomfortable. You're supposed to be like, oh my God, because we're doing something different. We're doing something new. We are out of our comfort zone. Because I know that I've been uncomfortable, and I know I've been a little cranky about it sometimes, because there's too much. It's like information overload, and you just want to digest it. And you know how I digested it? It's like, let's go in the basement and deal with crawl space. I cannot believe I ran to the basement to deal with this on this mastermind. But because I did that, today I got a couple of videos done. I'm like, okay, these are supposed to be a lot longer than what I made them. And so now I'm going back and I'm looking at the replays and going to fill in all the blanks that I didn't get, so I can get these videos up and running. And it's just more to add to the channels that I'm doing. It's, just more, and how I can take these videos from the Brave Network and push them out more, so people find me more. So I'm getting out there more. So when Spirit said, you're not using your voice enough, I think this was part of what they were saying, is that there's this element of getting more exposure. Now, I'm not comfortable. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm not the most comfortable person right now, but I'm doing it. I'm pushing it. My coach even said, Kath, you're elevating. Your frequency went up. That's why you have that push-pull. That's why you're feeling uncomfortable. And I'm like, wow, I didn't look at it that way. Because people from the outside see us differently than we do. I'm not beating myself up. I'm just like, I'm not sure why I have this push-pull. And yes, I'm conscious, okay? And yet I still don't see it, because I'm in it. I'm still moving forward, and I'm still pushing myself through it, but I'm not understanding why, because for the first time in a while, I didn't realize I was elevating, and yet it made perfect sense, because look what I'm learning. I'm elevating in a different frame than what I'm used to. So it's about really seeing the entire bigger picture, and we don't always see that bigger picture. So what am I doing? I'm facing fears, I'm facing my doubts, I'm facing resistance, because again, when we're feeling resistance, we're feeling like we're powerless, we feel like we don't have control of our life. And generally I talked to my coach a lot about this too, because I was really struggling with some of this. And there's the body. When we're in resistance, it's the body doesn't have enough information to move forward. It's in our central nervous system. Our brain creates stories. That's why we're storytellers. Our brain does things. Our body, our ego protects us, and we always think we're in fight or flight. We're living in a crazy times right now in the United States and actually on the planet because of the evolution that's going on. So we're in this crazy place, but our body's responding too, and we have to recognize that our body has something to say as well. So when you're feeling powerless or you're feeling the resistance, I've always looked at it one way that, first of all, I don't believe that we are that, but I understand now better that the body's creating it. But I also looked at sometimes resistance is you don't have enough information on what you're doing. So you're feeling a little hesitant, resisting about making a change. Sometimes it's your ego, your limiting beliefs are standing in front of you and is scaring you to death. And instead of moving forward, you plant your feet and say, I'm not going to do this. So then you sit there and you're in this position of, I'm not going to do it, when it's the body's talking to you. So again, another thing that went, whoa, another thing to make myself bigger, another way for me to see and pay attention a little bit more. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing, it's a good thing. But when you take it that you're learning and growing instead of feeling stupid, or you should have known better, because God knows I walked around my life most of the time saying I should have known better. And it's like, how would I know better when I knew what I knew at the time and made a decision based on what I knew at the time? Would I make a different decision today? Yes, because today I have more knowledge about what I did, kind of thing. So you have to keep that past where it belongs, in the past. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Are you ready to step into your true potential? Kathleen Flanagan's Get Into Alignment session helps you break through blocks, balance your energy, and align with your highest self. Experience clarity, purpose, and flow like never before. Visit KathleenMFlanagan.com and unlock the power of living in alignment today. Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we're streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. Some of the tools and practices that you can use for transformation is journaling. That is really one of the biggest things, because a lot of times when we start journaling, and once we do like the brain dump, so to speak, where we're getting rid of all that whatever's weird self-talk, kind of like when you're masterminding, that kind of thing, you just kind of do a brain dump. You eventually start coming into where messages come in, where you're seeing things a little differently, and you're becoming more mindful because you're actually using your hand and you're writing. And there's something about the hand and mind. And journaling, I mean, I wrote Dancing Souls was all about my experiences when I was in Chicago. I journaled every single day. Like every morning I woke up and I just like talked about what I experienced the day before, because there were so many profound changes that were happening. There was so much stuff I did not understand at the time. And so I just journaled, and the Archangel Ariel would come in and talk to me. At times there would be more insight. I would talk to friends that kind of added to some of what was going on. But it was a great way for me to just stay grounded and get through that year, because it was not the easiest year of my life. That was a very challenging year. One that if I would have known what I was going to happen, I wouldn't have done it. And I'm glad I didn't know what happened, because I like who I've become on the other side. It's all about our attitudes, people. It really is. So a good question to ask yourself during your transformation is, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? How many times have I asked that question? Why is this still here? Because it's no longer serving me. And when you do that, that means you're taking conscious control of a limiting belief, that you are consciously making an effort to make the change. And you can also ask, what is my soul calling me to do? How many times have I asked God, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? I feel lost right now, and I'm stuck. And that helps, because that also opens that line of communication with your intuitive self, your higher self, the angels, whatever you want to call it. They're there for you. When you're meditating, you're receiving clarity, especially if you go in with a question. Now, I ask questions at night when I go to sleep so I can put it out there, and then in the morning as I getting up, spirit has a tendency to tell me what the answer is. So, but I used to do that in meditation too. I still do it. I just do it differently. I do things a lot differently than I used to, but it's okay because I'm still doing it. I'm just adapting some of these tools to how my life is living, how I'm living my life right now. Visualization, huge, huge, huge. Game changer. Like I said, when I decided one day what I wanted my future self to look like, how does she think, how does she feel, how does she respond to things, and I literally put that down of what I wanted her to be. And when she showed up in April, I was like, oh my God, I didn't think that I would be able to be her in 2 years. And I was. So now I have a higher vision of what I want to be. I still have this massive dream that I'm still chasing after. And it keeps getting closer and closer to the point that it's almost scaring the hell out of me, because it's like this big, I'm pushing everything. Like I'm in the sacred pause of a pregnancy, of giving birth. And I've had dreams that I'm giving birth right now. And there's also that fear of just keep going, even though it's scaring me, and that panic attack that comes. So when I know I'm getting a panic attack when I go to bed at night, I know what's coming. I understand that. And I don't allow it to do its job. I just breathe through it, because I realize there's another elevation going on. So when you're doing that, and I've got my intention set, I say the things, I and the Father are one. I say that a lot. That means I'm staying connected to my God, that we are co-creating in this lifetime, that if I don't see something, the answers will come. And I like saying I and the Father are one, because that takes more limitations off of me. It takes some of the pressure off of me, that I don't have to know how to do it. I just have to visualize what I want and see it. One of the hardest parts on the visualization is you've got to know what it's going to feel like to be that new person. That sometimes is a little hard when you're still dealing with a lot of crap up in your brain. But I keep doing that. I keep visualizing it. It's like, okay, well, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can look like this, and I can act like this, and I can do this. But then it's like, well, how would that feel? And so what I'm using to gain that right now is, what experiences have I had in the past that helped me to be in that kind of feeling place? And the other is emulating people I admire that are in the place I want to be. How are they showing up in the world? How are they? They're smiling, they're happy, they're joyful. Now, they may not feel that all the time, but they show up to the world that way. So that's how I'm showing up to the world. That's how I'm doing it, is because this person that I'm becoming is going to be a happy person, 24/7. Like, very little would upset it, and it would almost take a volcanic eruption to dislodge that. And that's kind of how I see where I want to go with some of this stuff. When you set your intentions every day about what is it that you want to accomplish for the day, where do you want the day, what's on your to-do list, if you need to do to-do lists. I know that there's times I got so much going on in my brain that I have to put it down on my whiteboard. And the minute I put it down on my whiteboard, it's like I accomplish it within like hours. But as long as it's sitting up here in my head, it seems like I can't get it done. And I was on a call with this marketing company that I hired. And, I said, I'm not sure if I sent this to you, but I created this and this and this. And the only thing I have to do is a video. And I haven't done that. And I think I got it scripted out, but I haven't done the video yet. because all this other stuff is happening. So what have I been doing today? I've been on videos, videos to help people of, getting to know me a little bit better, what the purpose of what I'm doing. I created, various things of where are you in your transformation that is getting ready to get up. So I've been in this massive creative process. And as long as I can get it out of my brain and get it done, it's cool. And I'm almost there it's like I'm just like one or two more things to finish something up. And it's okay now, because you know what? I have a marketing team that's going to help get me like figured out where I need to be, what is it that I want them to do. And I pretty much said, I want you to do all the marketing. I don't want to do any of it. I will write the content for you because I can do that. I know what I have to say. I know what I want to say. I mean, we could do an interview process, whatever it is, and I can give you whatever you want. That's not a problem. It's just I don't want to do it. That's why I hired a VA. So the 5 to 6 hours, 7 hours, whatever it is she's working, gave me that much more time back in my life. So what does that do? Now I'm learning how to deal with the metrics of YouTube, how to really build my YouTube channel. Game changer. I couldn't do that as long as I'm still trying to get the show done and marketed and announced before, during, and after, and dealing with, my guests and making sure that I give them everything that they need. All of it, because I write blog posts with it. I do newsletters with it. I do social media posts with it. I'm doing shorts with it on TikTok. I'm doing a lot of things to get this channel where I want it to be. And now that I can turn most of it over, this really time consuming stuff, I mean, she's doing a good job, because I just got boring because I couldn't deal with all the creative side of it. It's like, here's the show announcement, here's this. And it was dull and boring. Well, she's now doing the things that I wanted to do that I didn't have the time for. So I feel like I'm looking better, okay? It's always about looking good. Always about that. And so there's that value that came in with that. And again, it took me a while to make that decision, knowing I had to make it, but because of limited resources, it made it hard to do it. But I took the plunge, I'm trusting, and I'm grateful that I did it. And you have to just be at peace. You have to trust. You have to take that step, like in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, when they have to get on the other side of this cave that they're in, and Harrison Ford is being told, take the next step. And there's nothing there but a drop. And he just closed his eyes, knowing he was going to fall, and then the road showed. That's how it is. You have no way of knowing how many times in my dreams have I jumped out of a perfectly good airplane. And this parachute opened. I told that to my coach. I said, I'm standing on the edge. And he says, and I said, I'm ready to jump. He said, the parachute will open. I said, I don't have a problem with that. I already know that. It's just making that leap. It's making that final jump. And that's why I said I'm in that sacred pause, like I'm waiting for one other thing. And once that comes in, I'm waiting to hear the word jump. And when I do, I'm jumping. And I guarantee you at that moment, I know that my entire life will change. And I'm doing a lot of head stuff to make sure that I'm ready for that change. Because you cannot build a momentum to the degree that I have and think it's just going to trickle in. This is not going to trickle in. And I want to be prepared. And I'm setting the stage with the marketing team and with the VA and working in this mastermind that's holding me up when I'm going to need to be held up. So that's the cool part about when you keep moving forward. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Feeling overwhelmed? Take a moment to reconnect with your inner peace. Join Kathleen Flanagan's powerful de-stress meditation designed to help you release tension, calm your mind, and restore balance. Just a few minutes can transform your day. Visit KathleenMFlanagan.com and start your journey to tranquility today. Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we're streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. Embrace change. That's all you can do. We're going to change. That's what we do. I mean, nature is constantly changing. We're the same. We're the same. We're always changing. Our body changes every 7, 15, 10 years, whatever it is, for various parts and organs and muscles and tissue. We're always being rebuilt. We're always growing and changing on the inside. When we stay stagnant is when we create the problems, when we don't want to make a change. And the thing is that if you don't want to make the change, I promise you, the universe will make it for you. And then you will really not like you and your life. Because if you take control of your life, the change is so much easier than life giving you the change. And I've learned both sides. And when I had a life-changing event where I was so flattened because I refused to make a move, I swore I would never do it again because the road back seemed arduous. And it would have been a lot easier. And sometimes we have to have that road. But it would have been a lot easier if I would have taken it. So if I get a message to change something and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll think about it. I get it a second time, I'm going to change it, because the third time I could get nailed. So I will make that change. And sometimes we don't even know it's coming. Things are feeling good. And all of a sudden you get this sense that something's going to change. But this is part of the journey. That's what this journey is. It's a transformational journey. It's the journey of an awakening spirit. It is not a one-time thing. It is a lifetime thing. If you reflect back on your life, I mean, from when you 10, 15, 20, 50 years ago, you're not the same person. And thank God we're not the same people. But if you look back, you will see how much you have grown and changed with or without your consciousness. Now, I had an ex-mother-in-law who said she was on vacation, and I swear to God, she was on vacation in this lifetime. I know that life still dealt her a hand every now and then, but as far as that woman making any concessions to be anything other than what she was no, she wasn't. She just had whatever this attitude was. We didn't get along, needless to say. But that was the whole thing, is I just had to. And I know that's one of the reasons why she didn't care for me too much either, was because I was always changing and she couldn't control me, and I had my mouth and I just did what I was going to do. And my ex-husband, that's why he's my ex-husband, because he wanted to control me and he couldn't, his family couldn't. And, my freedom, my well-being was important for me. And I don't know who I would be, if I would even be alive, if I stayed married to my ex-husband. That didn't mean I didn't love that man more than anything else in the world. I truly did. And it was heartbreaking when it ended, but it ended because it needed to end. And it was a good thing, because of the trajectory of the life that I have now is so different. And I've also accomplished everything except for one dream. And I've had some big dreams, and I've accomplished everything but one. And I am bounded and determined to do that as well. And that means I continually have to grow and evolve and take those leaps and jump when it's time to jump. I mean, I'm doing something that is so not normal and natural for me, and I'm doing it anyways. I've been doing it my whole life. I just haven't actually gotten paid for it or done anything along those lines. So that's what I'm doing. So take some time and just reflect on your life. Is there transformation that you need to do? How has your life changed? Where are you in the transformation? I mean, you can always reach out to me and we can set up a little call and we can talk about it if you want to do that. I mean, my Calendly link is out there to go ahead, just go on the website and set something up to where we can have a chat, because, sometimes it's we need somebody to talk to sometimes. Sometimes our friends and family are just a little too close and they don't understand what's happening to you and you need an outside perspective. And I'm more than happy to do that for you. And as long as you're taking a baby step, and it doesn't matter how small the step is, if you're taking a baby step moving into the direction of your dream, I promise you, you will get that dream. It's inevitable. That's one of the laws of the universe. But you have to make sure that this is clear, because this is the only thing that's going to stop you from doing it. But when you take those baby steps, you are forcing those things, those limiting beliefs, to come to the surface so you can grow and change them. And commit to creating a new habit. I mean, if it means just stop watching TV 1 hour a day or start eating healthy, I mean, create a new habit, which then starts setting the different neurotransmitters in the brain for another transformation. I mean, anything you do to change, it will be there. So my closing quote is, I am becoming the best version of myself step by step. And I highly recommend all of you saying that, because it is true. We are becoming the best version of ourselves every single day and with every step we take. I am a better person today than I was yesterday, and I'll be better tomorrow than I am today. And that's just pretty much how it works. And if you got any value out of the show today, I would really appreciate it if you would share it with your friends and family. The link's below, and then feel free to like and subscribe to the channel as well. That way you'll be notified when the new episodes are coming. And if you're struggling with anything or would like to talk, feel free to reach out to me at Brave TV at Kathleen M. Flanagan, and we can see if we can create a little roadmap for you to keep moving forward so you're not alone on this journey, because none of us are ever alone. We just think we are. And until you can find that within yourself, I'm more than happy to be here to support you on your journey. My books, Dancing Souls, The Call, The Dark Night of the Soul, and Awakened, are available on Amazon.com and KathleenMFlanagan.com. And if you buy them at Kathleen M. Flanagan, I am offering the trilogy for $45 and then $5 shipping. So it's a 15% saving. So, the holidays are coming, and if you want to get the books, this is a great opportunity to get the books with a 15% savings. And then feel free to go to KathleenMFlanagan.com and look at the list of services and products that I'm offering there. Plus, I have the 3-minute de-stress meditation that you are free to use anytime you want, because just getting back into that alignment helps with the sound. It helps to get all of that moving. And, and I do alignments, I have courses, I do coaching, and feel free to set up a discovery call if you'd like. Well, that concludes the show for today. And I will see all of you next week, Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And from my heart to yours, I hope you have a fabulous week.